The killer whale, or orca, is a magnificent creature. It is known across the world as the ocean's ultimate hunter. With its striking black and white markings, it glides through the water with unmatched power and grace. These animals are not whales at all, but the largest members of the dolphin family. They possess incredible intelligence, which they use to solve complex problems and coordinate as a team. Their size alone is impressive, with some males growing up to 10 meters long and weighing as much as a school bus. They are truly the kings and queens of their domain, a position they have held for countless generations. Orcas live in closely knit family groups called pods. These pods are often led by the oldest female, the matriarch. She holds the group's collective knowledge, teaching the younger members everything they need to know to survive. They learn where to find food and how to hunt it. Different pods specialize in different prey. Some hunt fish, like salmon or herring, using clever techniques to herd them into tight balls. Others are more audacious. They hunt seals, sea lions, and even the calves of great whales. Their cooperative hunting strategies are a marvel of the natural world, a clear demonstration of their superior intellect and social complexity. This remarkable combination of size, strength, and intelligence places the orca at the very top of the marine food chain. They have no natural predators. Nothing in the ocean actively hunts a healthy, adult killer whale. This has given them a reputation for being fearless, the undisputed masters of the sea. From the icy waters of the Arctic to the warmer currents of the tropics, their presence commands respect. When an orca appears, other marine life often scatters. Their reputation precedes them, and for good reason. They are, in every sense of the word, apex predators. For decades, we have observed them with a sense of awe and wonder. Their lives seem to be a testament to strength and dominance. They navigate their vast ocean home with an air of complete confidence, secure in their position. We believed we understood their place in the world, a world where they feared nothing. But nature is always full of surprises. It often reveals complexities that challenge our neatest assumptions. And in the cold waters off the coast of Iceland, scientists were about to witness something that would turn our understanding of the orca completely on its head. It was in the rich feeding grounds of the North Atlantic that researchers first documented this truly baffling behavior. They were observing a pod of orcas, animals they had come to know well. The orcas were behaving as they always did, moving calmly through the water, likely searching for their next meal of herring. They were relaxed, powerful, and in complete control of their environment. There was no sign of distress, no indication of any threat on the horizon. The scene was one of tranquility, a normal day in the life of the ocean's top predator. It was the perfect picture of confidence and authority. Then, without any warning, we could initially perceive everything changed. The pod's behavior shifted dramatically. The calm and measured movements were replaced by a sudden, frantic urgency. The orcas, these titans of the sea, began to swim rapidly in a tight group. Their powerful bodies propelled them through the water at incredible speeds, not in the organized manner of a hunt, but in the chaotic scramble of a retreat. They were fleeing. This was not a casual change of direction. It was a full-blown, high-speed escape. The scientists watching were stunned. What could possibly make a killer whale run? The source of their fear soon became clear. On the horizon, a group of much smaller, darker animals was approaching. They were not sharks, nor were they another pod of rival orcas. They were long-finned pilot whales. To the human eye, these creatures seemed far less intimidating than the mighty orca. They are smaller, slower, and lack the killer whale's formidable teeth and reputation. Yet, the effect their presence had on the orcas was undeniable. The apex predators were not just avoiding them, they were running for their lives, abandoning their feeding grounds in a state of pure panic. This extraordinary event was not an isolated incident. Researchers have now observed this interaction many times, in different locations. The pattern is always the same. When pilot whales appear, orcas flee. This astonishing discovery has opened up a whole new chapter in our understanding of marine ecology. It presents a fascinating mystery. Why would the most powerful predator in the ocean turn and run from a smaller, seemingly less dangerous relative? The answer lies not in a physical confrontation, but in a far more subtle and sophisticated form of warfare. So, who are these animals that can strike fear into the heart of a killer whale? The long-fin pilot whale is another member of the oceanic dolphin family, just like the orca. However, they present a very different picture. They are smaller, typically reaching lengths of around 6 meters. Their bodies are stocky and almost entirely black or dark gray, with a distinctive bulbous head known as a melon. They lack the sharp, contrasting patterns of the orca, appearing more like sleek, dark shadows moving beneath the waves. Their name comes from the belief that each pod is piloted by a single leader. Their diet and lifestyle also stand in stark contrast to that of the killer whale. Pilot whales are deep divers. They primarily feed on squid and small fish that live far below the ocean surface. They will plunge to depths of hundreds of meters in pursuit of their prey, using echolocation to navigate the darkness of the deep sea. Unlike the versatile orca, which hunts a wide variety of large animals, the pilot whale is a specialist. Their hunting grounds are often in the dark, silent abyss, a world away from the sunlit surface waters where orcas often hunt for seals or other marine mammals. What pilot whales may lack in individual size or power, they more than make up for in social cohesion and sheer numbers. They are intensely social animals, living in large, stable family groups that can number in the dozens, sometimes even over 100 individuals. These bonds are incredibly strong, and the group functions as a single, unified entity. If one member of the pod is in distress, the others will rush to its aid. This unwavering loyalty and group solidarity is the cornerstone of their survival and, as it turns out, their most effective weapon. It is this incredible social structure that defines the pilot whale. They move together, hunt together, and rest together. Their lives are a constant display of cooperation and mutual support. This group behavior is not just for finding food or raising their young. It is a formidable defensive strategy. When faced with a potential threat, the entire pod acts as one. It is this collective strength, this power of the many, that allows them to confront an animal as powerful as the killer whale. They do not challenge the orca with brute force, but with something far more overwhelming. When a pod of pilot whales encounters orcas, what unfolds is not a physical battle. There are no dramatic clashes, no biting, and no ramming. Instead, the pilot whales engage in a behavior known as mobbing. As soon as they detect the killer whales, the entire pod, which can often outnumber the orcas 10 or 20 to 1, will change course and head directly towards them. They move together in a wide, coordinated formation, a dark wave of bodies surging through the water. Their approach is relentless and unwavering, a clear and unambiguous challenge to the larger predators. The orcas' reaction is immediate and telling. Instead of standing their ground or preparing for a fight, they begin to retreat. The pilot whales pursue them, not with aggression, but with persistence. They will follow the fleeing orcas for miles, escorting them out of their territory. This chase can last for a significant amount of time, with the pilot whales maintaining their tight formation and constant forward pressure. The orcas, despite their size and strength, do not attempt to turn and fight back. They simply continue to flee, their only goal being to put as much distance as possible between themselves and their pursuers. The key to the pilot whale's strategy is not physical contact, but sensory overload. As they chase the orcas, they produce an incredible barrage of sound. The ocean, which was once relatively quiet, becomes filled with a cacophony of clicks, whistles, and calls. Every single pilot whale in the group contributes to this wall of noise. This is not the normal communication they use for hunting or navigating. It is a deliberate, intense, and overwhelming auditory assault. The sound is inescapable, surrounding the orcas from all sides and disrupting their ability to perceive their environment. This behavior is a remarkable example of how a smaller animal can dominate a larger one without resorting to violence. The pilot whales use their superior numbers and social unity to create an environment that the orcas find intolerable. They are not trying to injure the killer whales, they are trying to drive them away. It is a psychological battle, a war of nerves and sound. The pilot whales have learned that they do not need to fight the king of the sea to defeat him. They just need to make his kingdom an impossible place to be. To truly understand why orcas flee, we must delve into the world of underwater sound. Orcas are highly acoustic animals. They rely on sound for almost every aspect of their lives. They use a sophisticated form of echolocation, sending out clicks and listening for the echoes to navigate and find prey. This is how they see their world. They also use a complex language of whistles and calls to communicate with each other, coordinating hunts, maintaining social bonds, and teaching their young. Their survival is intrinsically linked to their ability to hear and be heard clearly. The strategy employed by the pilot whales appears to be a form of acoustic jamming. By producing a massive, chaotic barrage of sound, they effectively blind the orcas. The constant, loud, and unpredictable noises overwhelm the killer whale's sensitive hearing. It becomes impossible for them to send out their own echolocation clicks and interpret the returning echoes. The noise from the pilot whales creates a sort of acoustic fog, making it difficult for the orcas to hunt, navigate, or even know what is happening around them. They are rendered deaf and blind in their own home. This acoustic assault also shatters their ability to communicate. The calls and whistles that bind the orca pod together are lost in the overwhelming noise. A mother cannot effectively call to her calf. The hunt leader cannot give directions to the rest of the group. The social fabric of the pod, which is built on constant communication, begins to break down. This creates a state of confusion, anxiety, and extreme stress. For an animal that relies so heavily on teamwork and coordination, being unable to communicate is a terrifying and debilitating experience. Being subjected to this acoustic jamming is not just disorienting, it is profoundly stressful. The orcas are trapped in a world of overwhelming noise, unable to use their most crucial senses. This sensory deprivation, combined with the relentless pursuit by a large group of animals, creates a situation of immense psychological pressure. They are not physically harmed, but their ability to function is completely compromised. In this state, the orcas are vulnerable, confused, and unable to operate as the efficient predators they are. The only logical response is to escape the source of the noise as quickly as possible. One might still wonder why the powerful orcas do not simply turn and fight. A single adult orca is larger and stronger than any individual pilot whale. In a one-on-one contest, the orca would almost certainly be victorious. However, nature is rarely about single combat. The orcas face a coordinated group, and this is where the apex predator paradox comes into play. For an animal at the very top of the food chain, the greatest threat to its survival is not being eaten by something else, but suffering an injury. There is no doctor in the ocean. An injury, even a minor one, can be a death sentence for an apex predator. A damaged fin could impair its ability to swim and hunt. A broken tooth could make it impossible to catch or eat prey. An infection from a bite could lead to a slow and painful decline. Because orcas have no natural predators, their entire survival strategy is built around avoiding risk. A fight with a large mob of determined pilot whales, even if the orcas were to win, would carry a very high risk of injury. One desperate pilot whale, defending its family, could inflict a wound that would cripple an orca for life. From the orca's perspective, the calculation is simple. The potential reward of staying and fighting is low. They might succeed in driving the pilot whales away, but they would only be defending a temporary feeding spot. The ocean is vast, and there are other places to find food. The potential risk, on the other hand, is catastrophic. A serious injury could mean starvation and death, not just for the individual, but potentially for the calves that depend on it. The risk simply does not outweigh the reward. It is a battle that is not worth fighting. Therefore, the most intelligent and strategic choice for the orca is to flee. It is not a sign of weakness, but a sign of supreme intelligence and a deep, instinctual understanding of risk management. They are preserving their most valuable asset, their health. By retreating, they ensure they can live to hunt another day. This decision to avoid conflict demonstrates that being an apex predator is not just about being the strongest, it is about being the smartest. The orca's reign is maintained not by winning every fight, but by knowing which fights to avoid. This fascinating relationship between orcas and pilot whales has profound consequences for the entire marine ecosystem. The constant mobbing behavior of pilot whales creates what scientists call acoustic refuges, or safe zones. In areas where pilot whale populations are dense, orcas are conspicuously absent. They learn to avoid these territories altogether, knowing that their presence will provoke a stressful and relentless response. This effectively redraws the map of the ocean, creating vast areas where the top predator dares not go. The existence of these safe zones has a cascading effect on other species. Animals that are typically prey for orcas, such as seals, porpoises, and even the calves of larger whales, can find sanctuary within pilot whale territory. Humpback whale mothers, for example, might choose to rest and nurse their young in these areas, knowing that the chances of an orca attack are significantly lower. The pilot whales, in their quest to protect their own space, inadvertently become the guardians of many other species. They act as an unintentional shield, altering the balance of power in their local environment. This has also forced orcas to adapt their own behavior. In regions where their territories overlap with pilot whales, killer whales have been observed traveling in stealth mode. They swim in complete silence, refraining from their usual clicks and calls in an attempt to pass through undetected. This is a remarkable change for such a vocal animal. It shows that the threat posed by pilot whales is significant enough to make orcas abandon one of their most fundamental behaviors. They must become silent ghosts to navigate the territories patrolled by their smaller, noisy cousins. Ultimately, the story of the orca and the pilot whale is a powerful lesson in the complexity of nature. It reminds us that power is not always about size or strength. It can come from unity, from social bonds, and from clever, non-violent strategies. Even the most dominant creature on the planet has fears and vulnerabilities. The intricate dance of predator and prey is far more nuanced than we often imagine. The ocean is not a simple hierarchy, but a complex web of relationships where the weak can challenge the strong, and where survival depends on much more than just brute force.